Mega Delphox is officially released and obtainable through online play with today's update, and my plan is to show off exactly what this thing can do, and then take it to some top ladder matches and try to get it to roast some people. But first of all, when it megas, it gets some insane stats. Base 159 special attack is just plain evil, and it's even got great special bulk and some speed to go with it. Just by the stats alone, you'd think it'd be an absolute terror, and yeah, that would be correct. But it's also a really good answer to popular steal threats like Metagross right now. I mean, legit everybody and their mom has been using this thing. To make it even scarier offensively, we're going to start off with some Nasty Plot action to double its already crazy special attack. Then for fire damage, it gets one of the best range moves in the game with Heat Wave. It's incredibly strong and it's able to lock onto opponents and hits from crazy distance. Plus, it can also catch some strays within its circle. Aside from that, we've got Psychic to pick things off when needed with some also great damage. And then for the final slot, we've got a couple options, either with Solar Beam for coverage on water types, but I've also been really liking Shadow Ball for mirror matchups on other Delphox, or even things like Chandelure, which is very popular right now. Overall, Mega Delphox is sick as hell, and it's one of the top fire options right now, so it's time to see if it can live up to the hype. It has been 3,000 years. Mega Delphox is finally playable in some online ranked, and today we're here to do two things. We're going to chew some bubblegum and whoop some ass. We're all out of bubblegum, baby. We got a street map action on game number 1, and I'm leading off with this Metagross, a little Xbox 360 action, just to kind of see what's going on. We see a Salamence right from the start, and I can get a free Ice Punch and try to, get some Mega Charge. The beginning of games is really kind of a weird time. It's like nobody has any Mega Charge, so you can't do plus moves or anything super early. I also noticed this thing swaps into a Steelix, and I'm like, that would be nice to just go ahead and throw some Heat Waves at, but it disappears with Dig, and I do not want to be dug. So as I go Scolipede to try to 1v1 it, I get an Earthquake off, but this thing is too damn bulky, and the Steelix might just be a little bit of a problem. Now, the Metagross is over there just causing a little bit of a ruckus, and I also realized that if I can get some Earthquakes off, we can get some charge, but also, if I can grab a kill here, that would be nice. I'm working with Scolipede basically for one reason. The meta has changed. There's Xerneas is around, and I feel like Scolipede might just be a nice little answer, to some fairy fellas. So I take an early L there, not gonna lie. That was not my best place. But as I respawn, I immediately try to go Delphox and punish this Steelix, but it gets me with like 1 HP after taking a Heat Wave. So now that we've taken an effective just 0 from the start here, I'm feeling like everything's fine. I can Mega Delphox now, and there's tons of things that we can punish. So I'm going to go into the Delphox immediately. I see this Garchomp facing off of the Lucario. It does end up getting the knockout with the Earthquake, but as I go for the Mega, you're not going to like me when I got my broom under my feet. Check this out. I go for the point blank Solar Beam, get the knockout on the Steelix because Mega Delphox is just built different. And then as I run around, there's a buddy just Megaing a freaking Metagross too. So as I have charge on the Heat Wave, I can just grab a free kill there. I almost get the 3-piece on the Shadow Ball on that Gardevoir. I just nicked it. It was able to run away. But as they go into a Lucario, guess what? That thing gets Heat Wave. So just like that, we're back in the game, baby. 3 quick ones in a row. I see that Steelix coming for me with a Dig. And while I am frightened, if I get a Heat Wave on it, it just dies. And guess what? We do get it. Unfortunately, Garchomp also bops an Earthquake, which I get caught in the old crossfire of. So just like that, that brings us up to the tied for the first spot with 4 kills. And shit's getting crazy. So I go back to the Delphox. I don't have quite enough Mega Charge here, but I feel like as long as this, I know what this Steelix plan is, right? It's trying to get digs off. I can switch in time. I'm just going to throw some Heat Waves away. It does get a Mega just in time to avoid that damage. But seeing as Solar Beam did do some pretty good chip to it earlier, I'm just going to go ahead and fire one into the middle there. That little 1v1 between that Gardevoir and the Steelix. We end up getting the Gardevoir. So, that's sometimes the name of the game. And then for some reason, this Lucario, a little tiny-ass 4'2" guy, thinks he can come at me and just get sent to the Shadow Realm via Heat Wave. So they're starting to catch on that the Delphox is out here taking names. And as they go into the Garchomp at me, I just go right to Scolipede. Not gonna lie, this team does not deal with Garchomps that well. Anyway, I go back to the freaking Delphox because I see this Lucario. I'm like, do you want more? I will proceed to give you more. Not only that, but then I see 2 Steel types running around all crazy. So I go for the Mega, and I'm like, a double kill here would be so sick. I go for the Heat Wave. I do end up just getting the Metagross, which is fine. That puts me up to 8 kills, which is insane. And then at the last second, check that out. I get a Psychic kill on the Garchomp trying to run away with 1 HP. So holy hell, that this thing does crazy damage. There's a lot of answers to it right now, but honestly, the fact that Steel types are running around thinking they're hot shit, we're able to just melt them. So we're gonna finish that match with 9 knockouts, and that's what Delphox can do. I've said it before, but I wasn't a huge Delphox guy, and now this Mega has completely changed my mind. So while that was fun, let's go ahead and just jump right into the next one. I've Of course, my primary goal, see if I can get some Delphox kills. Once you get a nasty plot, even without Mega, you can do some good damage to things. So I lead off with the Metagross once again, just because this thing has coverage against a lot of stuff. I immediately see a Glaceon. Big boy keeps running straight towards me. So I'm like, this is a 1v1 that I will absolutely take. A Heavy Slam doesn't quite do it, but that's why we can follow up with a Bullet Punch. Really quick damage. The priority moves are super nice to just pair with things like Heavy Slam. So we get a quick knockout there. And then there's like some bridge shenanigans going on over here. So I throw a Thunder Punch at a Charizard, and then I realize I picked the fight with the wrong guy. So I just go into the Delphox thinking I can take an attack. And then there's another Steelix. I don't know what it is about people going all in on the Steelixes these days, but I lived the dig, which is sick, and then I finished off with a Head Smash. So it turns out Steelix is my arch nemesis so far today, and you wouldn't think it, but hey, he's won the battle, but I will win the war. So I go right back into the Delphox. I almost have some Mega Charge. But he is working with a Mega Drampa over there, which I think is sick. I go for a nasty plot on the sidelines while these dragons are just duking it out. And while I don't have great damage here, I just throw a Psychic to the middle of it just to see what happens. And then I have my Mega Charge. So I'm like, guess what? The broom is under the feet and heads are about to roll. I can go ahead and throw a Heat Wave to the middle. I do get a knockout on the Ampharos, which is great. Because then also there's a Drampa here who I can finish with a Psychic. So Drampa's kind of an interesting mon here. It's really slow. It doesn't get its attacks off great. So I win that matchup just because it had some chip on it. So I post up in the middle just to kind of see what I can make happen. And a Meganium runs over there. So I'm like, guess what? Not today. And that thing will be taking a dirt nap. So now I immediately am just matched up against this Steelix once again. It digs on my Heat Wave turn. And these freaking Steelixes, man. It wasn't even Mega. It's able to get me. It was a well-timed dig. It's a pretty damn good move in this. I really like how 2-turn moves are kind of crazy here. So I accidentally lead off with the Scolipede on the respawn there, but then I see Meganium, and with its crazy slinky neck, I'm going to go right back to the Delphox. The great part about Heat Wave is it really locks on from far away. Sadly, they switch just in time, which it's like, damn it, I almost had you. They go Dragonite, but then they go right back to the Meganium. They're like, whoop, I avoided that situation. And as much as I want to just kind of focus that, now Drampa comes at me and does get some revenge. Sometimes the old timer gets a little bit of revenge on you. I am sitting here with 4 kills, tied for first. And as we got less than a minute left in the match, we got to see if we can kind of pull out on top. So I go back into the Delphox. There is some action in the middle. Things are low. I would have loved to get a Heat Wave off on both of them, but once you switch, it just that cooldown time is just not quick enough. I do get the Heat Wave off on the Gardevoir, and that's able to take care of it. And then for some reason there was a Glaceon behind me. Now it's gone, but then I'm just like immediately frightened by freaking Steelix. As I do get off a Heat Wave, I get the knockout, but it also gets me. So like, it does feel like the Steelix is kind of winning the fight here, but at least get the knockout. So that puts me at 6. I am at the sole top spot. And I'm just going to go right into Metagross here to just see if the little last 15 seconds I can get a Heavy Slam on a Gardevoir. That would be incredibly satisfying. I do get it off, and I get the knockout, which is sick as hell. But sadly, as the last thing around is really just this Charizard. It actually, I think Drampa came and just sniped me at the end there. I was kind of hating on this Drampa at first. I love the design of the thing. I was kind of hating on its, competitive use, but he did get me a good couple of times there. But moral of the story, Delphox gets us some big knockouts, allows us to take the dub. And that's gonna do it for game number 2 out here. Honestly, actually tied for first. Just kidding. Guy with Steelix really did have a little tie there. I'll take it. As we get into the next game here, this is gonna be the kind of like circle courtyard area. I've grown to dislike this arena. I'm not gonna lie. It's great if you're using like freeze dry in the middle, but it feels like you clump up just so much more than the other maps. But this time I lead off with the Gyarados because I'm like, I could really use an answer to fire types. I feel like that would be kind of nice. I immediately am just able to go ahead and take care of this Charizard, at least get a waterfall on it, and I do. But the damn Garchomp, my art, it's always able to just steal the kill, gets the Rock Slide off before, and that's unfortunate. So as I try to run to safety, I think this Diancie snipes me with something. I did not expect. I also didn't even know Diancie was around. I think the update just came out to be able to allow you to get Diancie. And that hurts. And then also now there's an Aggron around. So I'm like, I love when people bring things that you don't often see. I go for a nasty plot just to get a little setup. I do have my Mega Meter. And while the other 3 are kind of running toward this corner here, I'm just going to throw a Heat Wave to the middle. The Aggron gets out of the way, unfortunately, because of course it does. And as I go for a Mega, they switch to a Gyarados. So now I'm frightened. I do have the Psychic on the Emboar though, which is going to take care of it. And not just one, but I get a double kill. I also am able to catch the Gyarados, and as I'm just surfing around, Garchomp comes freaking out of nowhere under the ground and digs me. So it's like as soon as you think you're doing good, nope, Garchomp just surprise right under you, and I get taken care of. So at this point, Garchomp is a problem, right? So I decided to go Gyarados so I can Ice Fang it, but he gets frozen. And they switch right out in time to avoid my Ice Fang, which is annoying. That Diancie just clicked Earth Power on me. I am a flying type, it doesn't work. But then I get knocked down to 1 HP. As I switched to Scolipede to avoid that Diamond Storm. Now I'm just kind of in danger as, you know, a bug type out here. Without the Mega Scolipede, not that great, but I win a 1v1 versus Gyarados. Not only that, but then as I see a Gardevoir, kind of an interesting matchup. If I was able to get off a big Poison Jab with a Swords Dance, I could win the matchup. Unfortunately, it is going to get the best of me with a Psybeam. It gets it off quicker and big range, so, you know, down goes the Scolipede. I'm just going to go right back to the Delphox. I feel like, why not? I have the matchup versus Emboar, also versus Aggron. I steal the kill from the Emboar there. Heat Wave is honestly insane in this game. The range, and it just like locks on. So as I go for my Mega here, I time it perfectly to avoid that Head Smash, which is clutch as hell. And then as I get off a Psychic, unfortunately, they switch. And then somehow Aggron spawns under me, or arrives unwelcome right under me. So that is going to take care of me. I'm sitting at second place with 4 kills here. I need to make something happen. I'm going to go right to the Delphox. Try to throw some damage around, but then as I realize there's like Garchomp and Gyarados out, this is a bad time to be the Fox. So I switch immediately into Gyarados, who is kind of my answer to these Garchomps. I chase this Garchomp around with an Ice Fang locked and loaded. As I do get it off, it lives it with just barely a sliver of health, allows him to safely switch into the Metagross. And then I'm like, uh-oh. I tried to switch, but it wasn't in time. Their Gyarados sadly does get me. So look, I'm still sitting at 4 kills here. It's not looking great, but there's 15 seconds about left in the match. I'm going to go right into the Delphox, see if I can grab one last knockout here with that Mega. Here's the funny part. I target the Aggron. I'm like, hold still. I'm going to get a Heat Wave off on you. It goes for a Heavy Slam, avoids my Heat Wave, but the Diancie was in range. So I get a kill on that thing. And that's actually hilarious. I didn't end up getting the knockout on the Aggron. And as the match comes to a close here, we weren't able to get to the top spot. This map, it's chaos no matter what in this game mode, but this middle crazy map just feels like there's so much happening. And you never are safe, ever. So I ended up getting 3rd there with 5 kills, which, you know, sometimes they get you. But as the wise Marshawn Lynch once said, I know I'm going to get got, but I'm going to get mine more than I get got, though. Amen. So let's go ahead and get into another match here, just because these games are really fun, and Mega Delphox is sick. All right, so this time we're back to the street map. I felt like at first I didn't like this map as much. Now I kind of do. While it is, you know, rectangular and long, it feels like one that at least you can spread out a little bit more. So I lead with Gyarados just to see. We got the Alolan Executor-ass palm trees behind us. I immediately noticed we have a Metagross to the right of us. Now, this is kind of a scary fight to pick. As I go for a Waterfall, I realize that Thunder Punch is probably going to happen. It does have it. And while I do live, I can just switch. I decided to just go into Scolipede because I don't want to go... sometimes I feel like I don't want to go Delphox too early before I have Mega Charge. So I just fire an Earthquake off. This Metagross almost gets taken out, and then it switches right in time to avoid my X-Scissor, which is mean. So that Metagross also does just barely get me with an Earthquake. And then I kind of just go right into Delphox as I'm like, if Spider Boy wants to heck around, he's going to heck around and find out. But Dragonite gets a Dragon Rush on me, and Delphox downfall is frail. So I do just go down to that. And as I'm sitting here with 0 kills, I'm also realizing nobody else really had... Dragonite guy has 1. So I'm just going to go right into Delphox. I have my Mega Meter up. I can get up a nasty plot. And the fact that there's just been Metagrosses running around, I should be able to pick off something. So there is a Metagross over here chilling. It is low. I can get off a Heat Wave. And as I see it commits to an attack, it's stuck there like a sitting duck to just get nice and roasted. So we grab a kill there. And everybody's almost tied at 1 except for guy with the Ampharos. I turn around to a Xerneas. Honestly, I'm kind of not that afraid of Xerneas. It can't really do much damage to me. Moonblast, as it just connected on me there, doesn't really hurt that bad. I'm going to leave the Mega Delphox out. I have Nasty Plot action. I have some pretty decent damage here. This is a Light Screen and Reflect Up Ampharos. But I am able to get the 2-piece. I can hit it with an Overheat, and a Psychic combo is going to finish it. And then as I get low there, I decide to just go right into Scolipede because I can just chase down this Xerneas. Bad thing about Scolipede is it really needs to be kind of up close and personal to get things going. As you saw there, I miss it, and, you know, I'm kind of afraid at this point. Gyarados is my last Mon that has any bit of health, so as I go for a Waterfall, I'm able to almost pick off the Xerneas with an Earthquake combo, and sadly, it just barely hangs on. So I am sitting at 2 kills, and we can make this win happen if I can hopefully either maintain or just get one more as everybody else is just at 1. So there's a Mega Gardevoir out here who's looking tiny as hell. I get a Nasty Plot off on it because then I can also throw a Shadow Ball. But the funny part is, as the Metagross does come in and get that Heavy Slam, now it's just in danger of my Delphox. So I go for the Heat Wave on it. I get the kill even without the Mega. And now as we're 1 minute left in the match, I can go for a Mega here. Check this out. I try to pick the fight with the Gardevoir. Sadly, it is able to live a Shadow Ball. and, you know, down I go. But I can't really afford to faint one more time, right? I want to maintain this lead. I have the 3. So I got in second, only at 2 kills here. I go Gyarados just as a bulky option, but then I'm like, you know what? If these Metagrosses are out, I'm trying to lock into a Metagross for the damn life of me. I end up missing, and I connect into the freaking Vaporeon. Sometimes trying to get your target is so incredibly annoying. I'm like, dude, the Metagrosses are looking like a nice, delicious steel snack that I wasn't able to lock into. And I do still have the option to get this one with a Heat Wave, as he doesn't switch. The Vaporeon's kind of pestering me, but it also steals my damn kill on that Metagross. That Vaporeon really busting my witch balls out here. So then as I turn around, I also just hit a waterfall from a Gyarados, which sucks. But as the game comes to a close, it's looking like we tied for first with the 3 kills. I kind of enjoy these really close matches like that are more like kind of low scoring, but that was a really close one. It was 3-2, 2-3, so we do tie for the first spot. And holy hell, that was an intense one. That's now going to bring us into one more match, because I try to just kind of round it out with 5 games. If you guys are still around, make sure to hit that like button. It really does support the channel. I kind of like messing around on these online ZA matches. It's a good switch up between that and kind of my Scarlet and Violet games. But without any further ado, let's jump into the final game. All right, so I think this is kind of a fun one. We're also chilling here on the old pond map, which is nice. It's more open than, I guess it's kind of street map. This is not rectangle, but I go with the Gyarados lead here just because it feels safe. I'm a Salt Vest Gyarados rather than Mega. I feel like a Salt Vest Gyarados is really nice because it allows you to live Thunderbolts. So immediately to my left, there's a Xerneas, and always Xerneas are going to Geomancy turn 1. So I get a Waterfall off basically just for damage and charge. And as I just go to Scolipede, I'm going to try to punch this Xerneas. It's interesting that Scolipede has a little bit of a niche right now. So I do end up getting the attack off on the Xerneas, but without a Mega, it's able to live on like freaking 1 after the connect on that. And, you know, I need a little bit of help. I do have Swords Dance on the thing, but as Xerneas goes away, I immediately switch into Delphox, but then I'm just met with a Garchomp. So I got to get my ass out of here. I also notice, hold on a second, there's a Vanillux over here. I go for a Waterfall on it, which does nothing. I know I can live a Freeze Dry, and as I try to run to safety, check this out. Buddy snipes me with an Ice Beam. Vanillux is kind of the truth. This ice cream strikes fear into people's hearts right now. Freeze Dry is crazy. The meta's changed a little bit, but honestly, Freeze Dry is still insane. So look, as my Mega Bar is full, I'm going to go right into the Delphox, get a nasty plot to start things off, because then I have a Shadow Ball on the Chandelure, but it doesn't quite knock it out, and then Garchomp tries to come and steal my lunch. But as I end up getting off a Heat Wave, a Gardevoir lives with 1. So I'm like, can I please get a lucky kill here? That would be satisfying. Now, the Garchomp does try to dig. The reason why I save my Mega for that interaction is to try to avoid the attack there. And it works out perfectly, because then I can target a stray Metagross with a Heat Wave, and that's pretty nice. So I noticed the Garchomp's still after me, but it turned out they actually switched anyway. So I go Gyarados, and then as I run around, there's a tiny-ass Pikachu. I just kind of Waterfall it for the hell of it, because I thought maybe I could live a T-Bolt with the Salt Vest, and I get a kill. So yeah, that's a free Gyarados kill there. Not usually expecting to kill Pikachus, but I go right back to Scolipede because, again, I want to try to punish these Xerneases whenever they come out. But, of course, I get freaking picked off via Chandelure. So, you know, you can't win them all. On the respawn, I try to go with the Delphox. Now, it's a little bit of a tough game for Delphox, especially when people are really insistent on these Garchomps. But as I run towards it, I notice it's a little bit low. And I think after a nasty plot, if I can get a Psychic on it, that'll kill it. But well, that feels pretty good. I also noticed that Vanillux is out here. And while Vanillux is scary, it's not scary to Delphox. I'm able to knock it out with a Heat Wave. And as I go for my Mega, I can target the Garchomp with the Psychic perfectly, just how we drew it up. I can get the knockout there. Now, unfortunately, as I was trying to get a Shadow Ball off on this Chandelure, as I do get it, it just barely lives, and it's able to pick me off because I was pretty low there. But hey, we're chilling with 4 kills, and that feels pretty good. So Xerneas is back. I feel like I'm kind of scaring this Xerneas away just with my Scolipede being around. I'm going to hang out by the side and get a nasty plot up. As I run to the middle, and whenever a Metagross is around, I will be targeting that ass. And sadly, it gets its Mega off on my Heat Wave. It feels like people Mega just in time, always. And also the Chandelure steals the kill. And while I was trying to kind of get the Chandelure with a Shadow Ball, turned out I got the Xerneas, and that's going to knock it out. So we get a free kill there. That puts us at 5. We're tied for first here as I turn around. Uh-oh, Chandelure's ass is right at me. I do not have enough with my own Shadow Ball to kill it, but as the time runs out, it's going to end up with the 5-5 tie. So Garchomp also running in there menacingly, trying to scoop a little late game kill, but that's going to be the end of the match on that one. Mega Delphox is sick. I like the thing flying around on its broomstick. The Fire Psychic typing it's interesting offensively. It honestly just has a hard time with, you know, ground types like Garchomps being around everywhere, but The good news is it's like everybody also has to have some type of steel type. So it has its moments. And also one important note, look at that. I got bottle caps for my reward. Thank God they changed the reward system. We finally get good stuff. Holy hell. And that was overdue. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Had a fun little session messing around with the fox today, and I will catch you next time. Peace out.